Hello everybody. This is a bit late to the party, isn't it? This was a nice little trend that was going around YouTube a couple of weeks ago, where if you're a YouTuber that's into wargaming, you do a I am a wargamer video, answer 3 simple questions, and then nominate somebody. The idea being you explain how you got into the hobby, and talk a bit about why you're particularly on the YouTubes, as Yarkshire Gamer calls it. So 3 questions. Thanks very much for the nomination, by the way, Yarkshire Gamer, Ken Riley, much appreciated. First question is, how did I get into wargaming? I'm going to carry on painting if it's all the same to you, because I'm currently in the middle of a Perry Miniatures Cavalry box set for Wars of Roses, so I'm just going to carry on doing that. How did I get into wargaming? I didn't mean to. it was entirely by accident. It was 3 years ago, almost exactly 3 years ago to the week, in fact, as it happened. And I was on a work job, which took me, for reasons I won't bother going into, to Foundry Miniatures, which is a miniatures company, a historical miniatures company, based in Nottinghamshire, where I live. And they've got, I suppose, fairly off the beaten track to ordinary people. They've got a shop in a place called Stoke Hall, which is a little village called East Stoke in Nottinghamshire, and you go into this sort of back road and you go into a converted set of stables, and in there is a whopping great big historical miniature shop with all their ranges in it. And so it just so happened that I had to go into this building for work. And I was immediately drawn to all these cases full of beautifully painted historical miniatures that are on display there, and all these ranges that are on the walls. I suppose I knew that historical wargaming existed. I was vaguely aware of it, but you know, it's hard not to know that wargaming exists per se if you live in Nottinghamshire, because that's where a lot of companies are based. But I'd never seen any sort of up close properly. When I saw them, I was just kind of blown away by them. Really, I just had no idea that they were that detailed, or there was that many, the ranges were that big. And when you saw them painted up in the shop as well in the display cabinets, it's just like, wow, there's something else, you know. So I went away, and at the time I was kind of looking for a new hobby. Reason being, I was getting to the point where I was just getting that little bit too old for some of the sports I used to do, and I wanted something new. And I went home from that job and found having looked around the shop briefly, and I started to just Google the hobby a bit. And I thought, well, why not? Let's just at least paint something. And the history side of it attracted me, because I'm really into Wars of Roses. I've always been quite interested in that period. But I never knew you could buy a load of Wars of Roses miniatures, so I thought, hello, let's have a go at that. So the first thing I bought was a load of plastics. It was Perry Miniatures. Bought a box, a 20 quid box of Perry Miniatures plastics. I went for plastics just because, you know, I was starting out. They were cheaper, and it wouldn't matter quite so much if I hated it. So I bought a set of 20 Wars of Roses plastics, Wars of Roses infantry out of Perry Miniatures. I bought a set of really basic Games Workshop paints, and off I went. And it was a bit of an addiction. Of course, I was very slow to start with. I'm very slow now still, but I was really slow then. But once I'd completed them, they looked okay, you know. And I stuck them on Twitter, and to my surprise, quite a few people said, "Oh, they're nice. Why don't you use some more?" So I was quite impressed by how sort of encouraging the hobby was to new starters, kind of thing. There's plenty of people out there, like me now, I suppose, that are just desperate to get more people into the hobby and get more people interested and give them a bit of support and encouragement. Because you do have to concentrate on it, don't you? You do have to. It's not a thing you can be good at in 5 minutes. So that's how I started. 3 years on, I'm still sat here painting the damn things. Not the same box, obviously, but the same period. I'm fairly hooked on them, to be honest. I love doing it. And from that sort of chance beginning, I did actually end up buying some Foundry metals in the end. I've got quite a few of those now. Having started off, actually made the plunge with Perry plastics. I've now got some Foundry. I've got a few front rank. But yeah, the majority of the collection, probably 2/3, just over 2/3, is Perry. So here I am, and I usually enjoy it. I get loads out of it. Made a few friends. Now I'm part of a Wargames group called Like a Stone Wall in Mansfield. Go to loads of shows. Excuse me. And I've helped Like a Stone Wall with some of their exhibitions, some of their demonstration games. So it's been great. Excuse me. And of course I've set up this YouTube channel. So why did I set up the YouTube channel? Which is a really recent thing. I don't know actually. I suppose one of the reasons for it was that there's loads of great YouTube channels out there. Absolutely loads of brilliant ones. And I learned loads from them. I mean, in the early days before I found the group, YouTube and the internet was basically how to do everything. Literally everything. And I found it great, hugely useful. But I did notice that Wars of the Roses probably had a heyday when Perry brought out all their plastics and some of their ranges about 10 years ago now, I'd imagine. And that had sort of died out a little bit, maybe, because once that had passed, it had a bit of a period where it had obviously been very popular for a while, and it got a bit quieter, and there's nobody who's really got a channel that focuses mainly on the later medieval period. There's a few people that focus on the medieval period, but there's not many people that focus on my period. And also, while there's loads of really good videos about getting into Games Workshop and the very, very basics of Games Workshop, like what is a miniature, there aren't as many very basic level, entry level sort of videos for beginners for historicals. I think because people assume that you make that jump into historicals from something else. No, I didn't do that. Alright, I did a couple of Airfix tanks as a kid. It never occurred to me to do historical wargaming until I started doing it 3 years ago. So I suppose once I'd got a few years under the belt, I thought, when I started, I'd love to see more stuff about the Wars of Roses and get into Wars of Roses and the medieval period and painting the medieval period and buying miniatures of the medieval period. But there's just not that much around, or not that much that I can find anyway, that's the kind of thing that I'm after. So you think, well, it's not there, and you think you could do something, then create it, and maybe somebody like me 3 years ago, who's really attracted to the medieval period and wants to get into it, will find the channel and get something out of it. That's the main reason. Other reasons are every time I've done something, like set up the Instagram account, set up the Twitter account, every single time I've sort of expanded my sort of activity online, I always meet new people online, and I always learn something from them every single time, and make a few sort of like little contacts and have some really interesting conversations and see things and learn things that I wouldn't have otherwise done. Just an example with this, like one of the videos I do on this channel is something called the Masters Interviews. Check it out. It's in the there's a first edition just gone out with Yarkshire Gamer, who's a chap called Ken Riley, Yorkshire Gamer, Ken Riley, which is a podcast style chat I do. And if you listen to that video, I learnt loads from that and found that really interesting. It's a really nice bloke. And already, having set up the channel after a couple of weeks, I've met Ken and had a conversation with him and learnt stuff from him, and then I've done a couple of other interviews which are going to be going up this week. So I've really learnt loads of stuff. So every time I do stuff like this, I seem to learn stuff. That's probably one of the main reasons I did it, and to offer a route in for new starters to historicals, basically. They're two main reasons. Last question in this challenge is advice to new channels. Don't take any advice from me because I don't know what I'm doing. I've just started. But yeah, don't be afraid of it. I suppose. I think there's something about it, isn't it? Committing your sort of your voice and your personality to film, if you like. I mean, I don't stick my face to the camera because, well, these are more interesting than me. So, and it's all about the chat really. But there's something about, isn't there, putting your voice or your personal, the thing that you do in your personal time into camera. It's probably something that doesn't appeal to some people. I totally understand that. But I've found it right so far. So just go for it, I suppose. If you're hesitant about it, I'd say to people, doesn't matter. You know, whatever you think is going to happen that might be bad, you know, 99% that's not going to happen. And just do things more than bat reports and like obscure scenarios. There's a lot of channels around that I know they're probably not aimed at me anyway, but I stumble across them and think, well, what you know is quite interesting and it's cool that you're doing it, and I'm not going to tell you not to do it, but tell me a bit more about you and what you're actually doing and how you painted those miniatures and where you got them from and anything you've learned while doing it, rather than just every battle you do just putting up a really long battle report, which I'm sure is nice to listen to actually sometimes when you're painting and stuff, but just tell us a bit more about what you do and just don't base your whole channel on battle reports. So yeah, apart from that, crack on, enjoy it. There you go, I've only banged on for 10 minutes, that's not too bad, is it? So yeah, that's a nice, interesting little thing that somebody started. I don't know who started it, but thanks very much for that, who did, whoever did. That's my effort. Nomination, he's probably already been nominated, but why not the eccentric man if he's already done one? Come on, give us one, that'd be good. Alright, that's it for now, just a quick one. For anyone who subscribes later on in the week, we're going to have a really exciting new Masters interview podcast style chat coming up this week, so that should be good. That's what's coming up next. So yeah, thanks very much, see you again next time. Don't forget to give us a like and subscribe if you're not already a subscriber, that'd be appreciated. See you in a bit.